The Two Norries podcast is proudly sponsored by Inline Eco, your trusted partner in asbestos removal and re-roofing services across Ireland. Your peace of mind and safety are our top priorities. For more information, visit inlineeco.ie.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Two Norries podcast. I'm your host James and I'm joined as always by my good friend Timmy Long.
Hi everyone.
We're back up in Ballymun with our friend Keith Kelly. How are you, Keith?
All good, boys, all good.
Yeah. You're in recovery like ourselves, and you were also a victim of a violent crime, which you're going to talk to us about that. But before we get into that, just tell us where you're from and a bit about your context.
I'm from a small place out by Norries called Ballybrack. I've lived there all my life. Married with 3 kids and have a grandkid. And at the moment I facilitate mental health programs for a charity called Suicide Survive.
And Ballybrack is famous for?
I don't know. The snapper. Many things, but
But can you remember it being filmed?
No, I can't. No.
Just a long time.
Can't now.
When was it? Late 80s, was it? Must be 1990, should have celebrated.
Yeah, the World Cup and stuff.
What was it like for you growing up?
Growing up, I would have spent a lot of time out in the streets and that. I still have a lot of mates who I would have grew up with. I suppose when I look back now, I suppose I was always in conflict with myself, James. I never realised that till much later on in life,
Explain that to me a little bit.
I never got on with my dad, we were always in conflict with my dad. School was a no-no for me. I left school just before my 60th birthday. And again, I only realised much later on in life that I learned visually. So for me in school to be trying to absorb stuff that was coming down off a blackboard, just didn't work for me. And I was told it was useless. Never amounted much in school, Spent a lot of time outside the door, spent a lot of time on the mitch. School just wasn't for me.
What about sport?
Sport, I love football. Yeah, I played football all my life. And again, that's a lot. I suppose out on the pitches where I could forget about everything, that sort of way.
Who's the team from over your direction?
I used to play for Ballybrack Boys, and then I played for senior teams, across Celtic, the Workman's Club, Norries Celtic.
Are they GA teams?
No, football.
Or soccer. Sometimes I get confused.
Yeah. So I played football up to the age of possibly 26, 27,
No. What position did you play?
I played centre half and I played up front. I was a bit of a.
Good
what? I think I could have possibly been an awful lot better, but I never gave it the full 100%. You know what I mean? It's always distractions around.
You said something there probably, and I always felt that I could have gave it more as well. But do you know, because of the different things that were going on in my life as small, and you said you were up in your head a lot as well.
Yeah.
I actually didn't have too much energy, as in like physically, because I was so much of a thinker. I was using up so much of my energy as a young child that I knew I had potential and I knew I had the ability and the strength, but it was like I felt so sluggish. Do you ever feel like that?
Do you know what I was a hero for? Do you know pre-season? And we would go on road runs and my head would just say, no, I can't do this. And I'd switch off and I'd say, I'd drop out. Well, if I was doing pre-season, short shuttle runs and sprints and that, I could do that, no problem. But once I came to, road runs or up Cliney Hill, up the steps and down the steps, I gave up too easy, Don't know why that was, but
It's going back. If I ever go on a run, right, my head will come into me. You've enough done now. It's like the body is trying to come in, the ego section of the body, which is there to protect you. And when the body's under stress, because it's not used to kind of doing exercise, it wants you to stop. That's what it sounds like to me.
But the manager would always give out, rightly so, because when I'd give up, it would have that domino effect for someone else to say, well, if he's giving up, so, yeah.
Do you want to take us back to the event, the traumatic event that happened, John?
Yeah, well, I suppose, James, that happened in 2008. So I had to sort of peel back to 2006 when it sort of, I'm living in my house, bought a house across my ma's in 1990, and I've been living there ever since. So in 2006, I had a neighbour to the right of me. Knew this guy, was a bricklayer. He was a bricklayer. We worked, knew him all my life, knew his family. Never had a bad word. But 2006, things started to go a little bit awry. I came home from work one day and my wife said to me, he's at that plowing into a car outside the house. It was impossible. This was impossible for him to do unless he'd done it on purpose. But at the time, I wasn't, thought he was okay. He was a quiet guy. Knocked in. I said, you know, what the fuck you had to do? And I said, oh, look, sorry about that, yeah. So I, being a neighbour, I said, listen, do you want to sort it out for cash rather than go through insurance? Yeah, no problem. Nothing happened for about 2 or 3 months. My wife's giving me grief, you know what I mean? She needed a car done, knocked in again. Yeah, I'll get it sorted. And I said, look, I think you're taking the piss out of me, you know what I mean? Get the thing sorted. Try to offer your way out here rather than going through insurance. Yeah, no problem. So anyway, a couple of months later, I got a phone call off the garage. Some guys that are walking in here and dropping 600 quid and said it's for your wife's car. Didn't come back to me and say, listen, I'm doing this. So strange things started to happen. He knocked into me then, a little while after. I opened the door and he says to me, listen, I have to tell you something. And I said, yeah, okay. He says, I'm what to be talking on the sites about your wife. So I'm just letting you know. And I fucking says, you what? He says, and he broke down crying. And it was such a shock to me that someone would say this to me. I didn't know what the fuck reaction.
Strange. What do you think he meant by that? What was he saying? Like,
he's obviously calling me wife or whatever, and all these sort of things. Yeah. So when I lived with me ma, where we grew up, his uncle was my next door neighbour. Get on great. So I said to him, Karen, I'm going to go over and have a chat with his uncle, and see, can he have a chat with his father? So I went over to his uncle and I said, geez, Mick, look, Marco's out there knocking into me, saying fucking strange things, he's talking about my wife on the sides. Any chance you have a chat with your brother, his father, like? He said, oh, look, I don't really want to get involved, you know what I mean? So I said, okay. So then this was going on, and then he would, in the middle of the night, he'd fucking blare the television, he'd put his music on, full blast, and he'd go out in the middle of the night in his car and just leave the house pounding. Do you know what I mean? And this would go on, and I kept knocking in, and things just with him start getting strange. The curtains weren't being opened, and I went over the 2-year period. I went to the guards 8 or 10 times to complain about this. They kept telling me, no, look, there's nothing we can do. He hasn't actually done it. But then he'd have cameras. I'd have kids' swings out the back. And I looked out one day, he had cameras pointing down into my back garden and stuff. So I went to the guards again, they came down, he took the cameras out the windows. But again, they said, look, there's nothing we can really do. I went up to his parents 2 or 3 times over the 2-year period. I sat with his mother and father, who I knew.
You were actually trying to resolve this the right way of conflict.
Absolutely.
I'm sure from the sense of what I'm getting here is you're actually worried about this guy in a sense as well, because this kind of behaviour was completely mad. Like,
absolutely. But I thought I was going mad. Because the community I lived in, everybody knew us, and he was obviously spreading rumours. So I went up to his parents a couple of times. The last time I went up to them, I went up with my brother, and I said to them, listen, is there any chance you fucking stop this madness? Like, you drove me around the twist, this lad. No, Keith, your eldest son's getting out and pissing on my son's washing line, and I'm doing all his washing, and your wife's getting out in the middle of the night and she's keying his Jeep. I said to myself, when I heard this, look, we all defend our kids, but this was way out stuff. And I said to myself, fuck me, what am I going to do here? So one morning then in 2008 in January, I went to work. Wasn't working too far away, building a house up in Killiney, and about 8:10, my wife and me says, get down here. he's kicking the fucking front door in. So I'm coming home in the car and I'm saying to myself, I think I'm going mad because no one's believing the stuff, telling me, ma, what's going on.
Okay, Keith.
I was trying to resolve this.
Are you okay now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was coming home in the car and I said, what am I going to do? So I said, I'll knock into a neighbour and have someone as a witness. So I knocked into a neighbour and said, you wouldn't mind coming in? I'm going to knock into this guy. He's trying to kick me from front door in. Knocked on the door and he came out and, do you know, by this time I was starting to get a little bit afraid of him, do you know the sort of way?
He's a capable of anything.
Yeah. So my neighbours started 10 yards behind me, and so I said, what the fuck are you doing? Trying to frighten my wife? He says, I heard you last night getting in the back window. He said, they're there robbing me life savings and on me videos. I said, fuck me now. Do you know, I didn't know what to say to that. I was glad the neighbour heard it. Do you know what I mean? He said, yeah, I heard you getting in the back. He's left a screwdriver at the back window and he's got it in. Bizarre stuff. So I rang the guards straight away. They came down, told them what was going on. They went into him, they got back into me and he said, look, I don't think he's right, in the head. What do I do? She said, well, he hasn't actually done anything. I know he's saying all these strange things. So he went off in their merry way, left me and my wife to sit with that, very strange. And, I didn't really realise, but over that 2-year period, my own mental health was starting to suffer, you know what I mean? So that night, went to bed. That night was woken by 2 loud bangs, trying to kick me front door, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I get up, look out the window, at a raw door bench in the front garden. Next time I see him pick it up, and he falls it straight through the front window, see him climbing in. So I'm in the fight or flight stage at this, you know what I mean?
2 kids in the house, Keith.
Yeah, whole family.
Whole.
My eldest was 17 at the time, my daughter was 9, and my youngest was 2.
This is all happening when you're inside the
Yeah. So I ran onto the landing and met him on the stairs. I'm just in me jocks, you know what I mean? It's pitch black. He's a big, powerful boy, so I'm grappling with him, get him down the stairs. And I didn't realise he had a knife. And the first time I realised, he had me on the ground. Sprayed me with the knife. And he stabbed me in the chest. And next minute, blood squirting everywhere. And I knew I was in trouble. For some reason, I found some sort of strength. And I got him down the stairs. Opened the front door and I sort of collapsed. I didn't realise till later on, he punctured my lungs and my lungs are filling up. And so a neighbour dragged me in to his garden. And all I could hear was noises. I was going in there with consciousness. He had a towel on my wound, on my chest there. And again, for a while, I don't know how long it took for the ambulance to come or whatever, it was I could hear strange noises going on inside. I ended up in the hospital then.
Did he take off? Or did he just go back out home?
I didn't find out till the next day or whatever what was still going on in there. I could hear noise and stuff. But my wife, in a panic, instead of ringing the guards, rang her sister. I don't know, that number just came into her head. My eldest lad, he ran and got help. So I had brother-in-law and a nephew, and there was neighbours who went in, and a couple of them got slashed by him. He was
They lock up with you.
Yeah, he was up the stairs, saying, I want me videos, I want me money. And then apparently the guards arrived. Again, I don't know, it could have been 10, 15 minutes. And they said to him, listen, he was top of the stairs, put the knife down, and he put the knife down, and they took him away. I didn't realise till a couple of days later, but I was in total shock, James, you know. And I ended up in the hospital. I was out the back, and I could hear people talking. I was gone in there with consciousness. I didn't realise till the next day, but there was a mad thing. One thing I vividly remember right at that time was just strange. I could hear a set of high heels. Do you know what I mean? Out of everything that was going on, I could hear that. And couldn't make sense of it. But so the next day, I woke up in the hospital. It stabbed me numerous times in the chest. He missed me main artery to my heart just by millimeters, you know. He stabbed me in the shoulder and stabbed me in the face. My whole face was split open. And the girl.
How many times did you stab?
4 times. The girl, the high heels, was a plastic surgeon. He was going home. And just by chance, the inside of my mouth is all fucked up. She stitched up. Yeah, so, you know,
It was like when you woke up.
I didn't know what was going on, you know. I was just numb, James. Yeah, I was numb to it all. I spent some time in the hospital. My house was in bits. So while I was in the hospital, my brother and friends, the walls were full of blood. Everything was a mess, you know. He'd actually kicked one of the doors upstairs off the fucking hinges. You know what I mean? People were trying to close me into the bathroom. So people fixed up my house and that.
Your house, he was in?
My house, yeah.
Oh, he didn't go into his own house and go up the stairs?
No.
He went into your house?
Yeah.
Through the bench, through the front room.
Through my front window.
I know him into your house, but you know, afterwards, after he done this, did he go back into the house?
No, the police took him away, like.
From his house.
Or from his own, from your house?
Yeah.
So when all this happened and people started coming around and you were I
was next, yeah.
He was up your stairs.
Yeah. He went into my wife's bedroom.
Did he harm them?
Were the kids gone out of the house at this stage?
My eldest son was.
Yeah, and the rest of them?
No, yeah, he went and he had my wife, he had the knife to my wife's throat.
Fuck.
2 of his kids were on the bed.
That could have been a few murders.
Yeah,
there,
absolutely. So I spent some time at the hospital, James.
Can I just bring you back?
Yeah.
No, you were on the floor.
I was in next door. Yeah, on the stairs, yeah.
Your head must have been on your kids and your wife.
Nothing. I just went into fight mode. And I suppose the adrenaline gave me the strength. This guy's a big fucker, like, and while I was grappling with him, he was slashing me, and I didn't realise he was stabbing me as well. Right, you know, I found the strength to get him down the stairs somehow. But when I went, the neighbour took me in to his garden. He went up the stairs then to his wife, that, you know.
How long were you in hospital for?
I was in hospital for 5 days.
What was it like when you went home?
I didn't go home initially. First, I went to a brother-in-law's to recover because my house wasn't.
Yeah.
Do you know when I went home, James? I was numb for about 3 months. Absolutely numb. People were knocking and saying, "Isn't it great that, you know, you're alive, thank God." I couldn't feel that, you know.
He was on remand or was it like that?
Yeah. And I was
a lot of medication at that thing.
Yeah. And do you know what happened? After I sort of came out of that numbness, I started having nightmares. Every time I pulled up to my house, it was like that image was like the Amityville house, you know that?
Yeah.
It frightened the fucking life out of me, do you know? And I never told anybody the extent to which how I was hurting inside. I felt a lot of shame. Someone had come into my castle and I wasn't able to protect. Do you know? I was afraid. I became afraid of the dark. I'd sit up with my dog at all hours. And for me, 6'3" guy, to be afraid of the dark, knocked the stuff out of me.
You know, it's very important for me to be listening to this here on Jams, you know, because once upon a time, the life I lived in crime and stuff, like this is my first time getting the perspective of somebody that's a victim to violence or crime. And I'm sitting there, I feel like crying. You know, it's fucking...
You know, it's fucked up. Because you don't realise, you know, the devastation, like when we do things.
No.
Like, you don't realise at the time, you know?
Absolutely not. And I would have always had a drink, smoked a bit of weed, done drugs throughout my life, gambled. I didn't think I had really too bad a relationship with all them, but when I was in this mode, I would done anything to escape the pain. And over a 5-year period, my mental health deteriorates. Oh my God, nightmares I was having. Visualised myself at the top of the stairs every so often. I couldn't sleep. I'd stay up till all hours because I was afraid of that. You know, sometimes I was doing mad stuff. I'd have one foot in the sitting room, yeah, and one foot at the edge of the stairs. So I'm trying to turn off the light at 3 in the morning before I got up the stairs. And I never shared that with my wife or anybody because I thought I'm 6'3". Yeah. I can sort all this out. But
you're only human at the end of the day, and you're post-traumatic stress.
Absolutely.
Do you know when you're a victim of violent crime like that, do you get any supports? Like,
you know what? Initially, when I came out of hospital and stuff, I had to say the guards, I was a guard liaison officer. The guards offered me and the family some counselling, which we went to, but I wasn't in the state to absorb anything. Didn't work for me. So I said, nah, not for me, you know. I thought I could handle all this, James. No, I'm 6'3" guy, big man. That's what I mean.
That's what we're brought up to believe.
It's interesting you're after saying that now 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And it's like you're still saying to yourself like that you should have been able to prevent this, you should have been able to deal with it. It sounds like you're still a little bit hard on yourself because you're a big unit.
No, I tell you, I've come through that because I sort of re-authored the story.
Yeah.
But for a long time, I felt I didn't. Because remember I was saying to you for a 2-year period, as Jane or Timmy said, I was trying to do things the right way, going to the cards, trying to delegate with his family.
Yeah.
So going round and round in my head, you know, all the snares, what did I do? Why didn't I protect them? Why did I do something? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? It was always the wise. To the extent in 2013 where I just tried to take my own life. I just...
When was this? Do you want?
2013. 5 years I tormented myself.
After.
Without seeking help or telling anybody the true extent to which I was suffering.
And during that period, the 5 years, Keith, what were you doing to maybe soothe yourself?
I was drinking, taking drugs and drinking, gambling, everything just magnified.
How was your wife and kids?
Do you know, Jay, at the time, I possibly was self-absorbed myself.
Yeah.
I had so much anger that built into rage. I wanted to kill him. I wanted to kill his family. And that just took over me. He sat with me every day. He went to bed with me every day. He was in the car with me every day. I just became overwhelmed. Thoughts of revenge and consumed by it. And I just turned into a shell, the person who I was, you know. Life became very difficult, you know.
That's the thing with mental health and addiction. The person that's going through the mental health issue or addiction, it's a very self-centered condition, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And we're only thinking about ourselves.
Absolutely.
And then there's the families, and they're obviously traumatized as well.
Absolutely.
But you're all caught up in your own head that you can't.
He consumed me. Every minute of my day, I just wanted to revenge.
What happened with the suicide attempt? What happened around that, and how did you?
Do you know, suicide had been creeping into my head for a lot over the years. I just didn't want to go on, James. I fucking hated who I was. I didn't like who I was. And I knew my wife was going to a summer project with my kids one morning, so I knew she'd be gone early, so I took a lot of pills that night. She was gone. I woke up and I was groggy as fuck. I was still here, so my wife was gone with summer project, so I had a shed out the back, so I went out the back. I had a sun lounger out there and I lay down and took a lot more pills. I was carrying so much shame.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I protect my family? How did I let this happen? That internal dialogue that was useless, was crap. Can't protect my family. Why can't a man protect his family? You know, that sort of way. But I woke up that evening. I tried to stand up. I collapsed out in the shed. So much drugs in my body. I couldn't speak. So I crawled into the house, crawled up the stairs. I think if there had been drinking in the house along with the medication, game over, yeah.
Was that a turning point, yeah?
Absolutely. Do you know?
The Two Norries podcast is proudly sponsored by Inline Eco, your trusted partner in asbestos removal and re-roofing services across Ireland. Your peace of mind and safety are our top priorities. For more information, visit inlineeco.ie.
I love my family. I didn't want to die, but just, I was tormented, you know what I mean? I tormented myself. So I went to seek help, you know. I knew I couldn't go on. I knew I was a good person, but I was tormenting myself, do you know, sort of way. So I started to seek help, and one of the best things I was told early on was to do a bit of some exposure therapy around being afraid of the dark. So I'd go away at night with the dog. There's a clubhouse 100 yards away. I had a staffy, and he'd stayed up with me over them 5 years, watched me crying, and now he's my best pal.
We've staffies as well.
You know, so I'd go 100 yards with him on the lead, and I'd come back home in the dark. You know, dark. I'd do that for a couple of months, and then we'd go a little bit forward. We'd probably go 200 yards in the pitch black on my own. Do you know what I mean? And eventually, probably about a year later, we'd go a little bit forward and let him off the lid, and he's cute here with my dog, stay beside me. Yeah, he'd been through it with me.
Yeah, he sensed the fear.
Yeah, absolutely. Well. So
they were most loyal dogs as well, like.
So that's how I got over that sort of fear of the dark. But I spent a lot of time. I was hyper vigilant. You know that, like a meerkat, when he sticks his head up and he's scanning it.
Yeah.
I was sort of in 24 hours like that. I could walk Dunleary Pier, and so lots of people walking Dunleary Pier, but I always had that sense of someone behind me.
Yeah.
I suppose when you're living like that, I never knew mentally it was fucking me up. It was also doing things to me physically. I started to suffer a lot of leg pain, and my back gave up. So while I was going through therapy, I was also engaging with my doctor, which I never did as a young. I only went to the doctor to get a script to get 3 days off work. I never had, so I changed doctors, you know what I mean? I had a good relationship with this new doctor. But 2014, my legs were giving me awful trouble. So she sent me in for a scan, and I have peripheral artery disease. If you can think of your arteries like a straw, mine were like threads. In the legs, so I had to have a bypass. And it's all connected to the trauma I was suffering with, you know what I mean? So I suffer chronic pain an awful lot now.
Yeah.
But going back to recovery, I was doing a lot of therapy, and when I had that operation, I said to myself, that's it, gargle, drugs, gone, everything, that's it. I'm getting my life back together. Falling apart here mentally, my body's falling apart. And lucky enough, the therapists, you know, at this stage I had no self-esteem, I had no confidence, I was isolating, I was like a little child. He said, would you think about doing some voluntary work, you know, to reintroduce yourself sort of into society and stuff. So lucky enough, I knew a friend of mine who sort of grew up, was a couple of years older than me, had a charity called Suicide Survivor, and they do educational and therapeutic programs, well-being programs. So she had a chat with her, and she said, look, would you come up 2 hours a week, do something out the back? And so I'd go up 2 hours a week and be out the back getting the equipment ready for programs. People in the office say how are you to me and just leave me to do whatever. But over time, then I started going 2 days a week. I started to build my confidence. And then I was grew up in the building industry, never around an office environment. So even that was strange for me. These people were encouraging me, do you know what I mean? Giving me lots of support. There's lots of therapists who walking in and out of the office, and, you know, we'd have chats out the back, and I was still going to therapy and stuff. I started to get my confidence back over a year and a half, 2 year period. I always wrote poetry as a kid and done a lot of art, but I fucked it in the wardrobe. I was thought, who don't want to listen to me? Because they told me in school I was useless, you know.
Yeah.
So I started to get some sense of self back. I was trained up with Mel as doing facilitation. And the word education to me in the past would have horrified me.
Because it's mine's just school.
Absolutely.
But as an adult, it's completely different, isn't it?
It's more about knowledge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And it's enjoyable as an adult, isn't it?
Listen, people in the office could see the growth within me. And they sort of said, well, just think about going back into education. I said, yes, don't know, you know. They said, look, I think there's something there, the potential to, you know, for further growth. So I went to, I enrolled to do some counselling skills at Maynooth University. To me, Maynooth University was way out of my league. And on the journey there, I'd spoken to the tutor and asked, you know, who else would be in the class, and a lot of academics and teachers and stuff like that. So on the journey to Maynooth, of course, you know, self-sabotage comes into the head. The fuck are you doing going to Maynooth University? Who do you think you are? And I nearly turned around, you know. And at this stage, I'd been doing lots of workshops and stuff, so self-development programs. So I went anyway, and do you know what I found within a 3-week period? Every time I spoke, these people didn't really have the life experience I had, and I have value in, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I never thought that before, because people were telling me in school it was crap, and I loved it. I absolutely, I got a thirst for education.
I remember when I went back as an adult, and like that, now, you know, went into college for the first time, and what am I going to bring, you know?
Yeah.
And we were doing, we had a law module, and I said it before, but I know a lot about the law module because the court system and all this stuff because of experience. But the young people in the class, they're like, fuck it, James is brilliant at the law, isn't he? And fucking maybe all these shitty life experiences stand to me now. Because that wisdom and those experiences, you can't buy that. You know?
Absolutely. I remember we were doing some CBT one morning in Maynooth University. It was through art. And of course, I love art. So we had to draw pictures of something from our childhood and stuff. And I drew, because coming from Dublin, I didn't see sheep till I was much later on in life, not sort of way. But I drew a picture of myself with my brothers in the car on a journey to a lighthouse down in Ballycotton, and the sky was all brown, and you know, it wasn't. So then we had to explain what our drawing was. So you know, tutor says, "Okay, Keith, well, can you explain what was brown?" Do you know, there was no M50 in these days.
There's a long way from Ballybrack to Ballycotton.
There was 4 of us stuck in the car. My man, Dad. The sky represents, you know, farting, the arguing. 4 brothers in the car, you know. And my dad, shut up. And I suppose for me, the lighthouse represented me. Fucking get out of this car. Bit of sanctuary. Do you know what I mean? And when I explained my story, a lot of the other people in the class had fluffy clouds on there, and they weren't able to tell their story because I don't think they were telling the true story that I was telling about my journey in the car, do you know, the sort of way. And I went on, you know, my 25th anniversary with my wife, we'd booked a week away in Malta, 27 then. And then I got word from the office, listen, there's rap, I facilitate a program called rap as well. There's rap training in Wheatfield prison for a week. Of course, what week was it on? Same week as my 25th anniversary. It was really important to me, do you know, for going forward. So I had a chat with my wife. She agreed. So a friend of ours went with my wife, and I spent the week in Wheatfield prison with lifers.
What was it like for you?
Oh, do you know, it's brilliant.
Oh yeah, exactly.
2017. 8 people from prison, 4 of them were lifers. It's one of the best experiences of my life. Because you know, I could have took a turn and been on the opposite side of the table, do you know, sort of way.
But it would have been very understandable for you to live your life with a lot of bitterness, hatred, anger towards people. commit violent crime. But there you are in prison helping people.
James, I spent so much time in the blame game, blaming this guy for the way I was feeling, until I found acceptance and took personal responsibility. Like, I'm the only one who could fix my life. Yeah, he done this to me. I carried him for 5 years, and it didn't do me any good. So I had to find some sort of acceptance to move on in life. You're stuck in the blame game. There's no moving forward. Do you know?
What's life like for, you know, your recovery, 9 years?
Life is good, but you know, sometimes awareness can be a bollocks. Because when you're stuck in drinking and drugs, you've no self-awareness. Life is a hell of a lot better. Absolutely. The work I'm doing, I get privileged to do, working in prisons, working in communities. 10 years earlier on, I just recently done a workshop for 50 people around the corner. I travel around the country doing workshops and delivering rap programs, and I absolutely love it. To be in a room with people who are curious about their mental health, it's magic. It's like what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, more of it, the better.
Yeah,
the more of it, the better. If you're ever coming to Cork, give us a show.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, I just want to bring it back before we finish up there, James. I think it's very important, especially coming from somebody like yourself who's experienced your victim of crime, really. And I suppose...
No, do you know what? I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor.
Yeah.
I'm not actually a survivor, I'm a thriver.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
Yeah. There's a thing called post-traumatic growth. And that's where I am.
And sometimes if you can really look at your experience as something that has maybe changed your life in a positive aspect.
Absolutely.
And that's it. It's not about getting stuck. It's not about a blame game. Even though like what happened was, like, we've all had different things happen to us, you know. But if we get stuck in the blame game, we're actually losing the real benefit of life and moving forward. Like, we've all had different, as I said, different things happening to us, but at some point in our lives we truly have to move on and thrive, as you have. And like, I could have sat back, and James could have sat back, and I've done shit to people that I'm very, very...
I stood on people as well when I was going through shit, you know.
Listen, as we were sitting here, and I was listening to your story, like, and a lot of stuff was going on for me internally. And it was bringing me back to times that I'd done different stuff to different people who didn't deserve it, who were completely innocent, you know. And that's why I got so emotional there earlier on, because I was going back, and you were talking about how you were getting through it, and my head was saying, like, people like that are struggling in the same way, and it really hit me really, really hard, you know. But bringing it back to the point is, if we get caught up in the story of what has happened to us, and the blame game, you know, I think we get stuck there, and the longer you stay there, the longer you're really taking life and the benefits of life away from yourself as an individual, you know. And a traumatic experience like that, and try to understand that it can be something that can be very beneficial for somebody to help them to go by a bit of therapy. The therapy could be initially around the traumatic experience, but other stuff could come up. And there could be real beneficial healing around that as well.
You know, when I reflect on life now, I used to blame my dad and everything, you know. God forbid, my dad died when I was young, didn't get on. When I look back now, you know, I was bringing some stuff to the party as well. It wasn't all his fault, you know, the sort of way. But I never got the opportunity to say that. And I truly believe that, and it's strange to say, maybe if that incident hadn't happened, I'd have been still a bricklayer, out drinking, doing stuff.
Forced just to do the work on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
To look for the silver linings and all these things.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. I think this podcast will help victims of crime that are listening, that may be stuck, try and move on.
Yeah.
And kind of, you know, have a more fulfilled life. And for perpetrators of crime, maybe think about some of the actions that they can't undo.
Yeah.
But just to make sure it doesn't happen down in the future.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
Thanks to you.
The Two Norries podcast is proudly sponsored by Inline Eco, your trusted partner in asbestos removal and re-roofing services across Ireland. Your peace of mind and safety are our top priorities. For more information, visit inlineeco.ie.